Hola a todos! This is part 1 in a series of 3, all about writing Spanish sentences and how to spice them up. In this video, I'm going to go through loads of connectives, conjunctions, and time phrases in the past, present, and future time frames, which you should use in your writing and speaking. Before I get started though, the reason for this video is I've made a lot of exam-focused videos, but from tutoring students, I've noticed a lot of people, especially early on in year 11, don't know how to write grammatically correct sentences. It's of course a really important skill, so these 3 videos and this whole document should really help with that. I'm going to try my best to break down the skills needed to build complex sentences. And of course, this document will be on my website, astarspanish.com/grammar, and you can use it as a writing mat to aid you in writing in Spanish. Vale, vamos. So if I get a pen open. So starting off with connectives/conjunctions, the first one we have here is también. También is one you would have seen before. It means also. So really common and easy way of just saying also. So for example, me gustan las matemáticas o me gustan las matemáticas. También, for example, me gustan las ciencias. So I like maths, also I like science. Okay, after también, we're going to go into además. Además is a better way of saying también, means pretty much the same thing. So it means additionally, which is just a synonym of also, so these can be used interchangeably. And I'd say además is slightly more complex than también, to try and so vary your writing up. Use también sometimes and use además as well. Okay, next we have pero. What does this one mean? It means but, right? So, but, for example, me gustan las matemáticas, pero no me gustan las ciencias. I like maths, but I do not like science. So, pero. Next, we're going to say sino. Now, sino is a bit of a complex one. It's similar to pero, but this means but rather. So now I'm going to give you some examples with a few sentences. So, for example, no voy, no voy a estudiar. Let's use the maths as an example again. Las matemáticas. Sino, which is but rather, and then let's say las ciencias. I'm going to keep using this as an example, maths and science. So I'm not going to study maths, but rather science. Another example, we can say, for example, so no solo como, I don't only eat comida sana, which is healthy food, comida sana, sino también. So using 2 words together, sino and también, but also, let's say bebo, like for example, 5 litros de agua cada día. Okay, so cada día, vale. So this one means I don't only eat healthy food, but also I drink 5 liters of water every day. Now you could replace this sino también with y and remove this no solo. So como comida sana y bebo 5 litros de agua cada día. But it's slightly more complex to say no solo and then sino también. If we get a highlight to open, no solo. Oops, that's way too big. We can say no solo, sino también, they work together. Okay, next we've seen también, además, pero, sino. Next is going to sin embargo, which is another one I'm sure you would have seen before. Sin embargo, and this just means however. So similarly to pero, just means however. Okay, there's other ways of saying however. Next, we're going to see no obstante, and this is more of like an A-level one. And you would use it a lot at A-level, but it means the exact same thing. It means however, or like nevertheless even. Let's say nevertheless. But these can be used interchangeably as well. Okay, now we're going to go into en cambio. En cambio. So cambiar, where this word comes from. Cambiar is to change. So en cambio is like in change, or in English we'd say instead. Instead or instead of. En cambio. Vale, continuamos. After en cambio, let's go into aunque. This one is a really important one that a lot of people seem to forget. It means although. Oops. Although. So for example, let's write an example here with the same one as before. So me gustan las matemáticas, just gonna write las mates as a short form. Aunque, and then mi profe, or like mi profesor, no, or like es estricto. So I love maths, although my teacher is strict. Okay, that's although. Okay, next is a pesar de, which means a similar thing and it is interchangeable. So a pesar de, I'm going to say this means in spite of, or in English we also say despite. So if we were to put this into this sentence above here, we could say me gustan las matemáticas a pesar de que. So we need a pesar de que in spite of or despite my teacher is strict. So, me gustan las matemáticas a pesar de que mi profe es estricto, and that would be a correct sentence there. So a pesar, sometimes you need a pesar de que. Okay, so aunque a pesar de que. Next, we're going to go on to debido or debido a. So debido is often followed by a. Due to is what this means. Okay, moving on. Por eso. Por eso is like therefore. So because of this, therefore I'm going to write. So for example, let's change it up. So let's say me encanta jugar al fútbol. I love playing football. Football. Por eso quiero ser futbolista. So I love playing football, therefore I want to be a footballer. Okay, so that's por eso. This is one that people, GCSE students, don't often use, and you can use in your sentences. So por eso. Next, por lo tanto, which means the exact same thing. I'm not going to write it, it just means therefore. So again, it can be used in here as well. Me encanta jugar al fútbol, por lo tanto quiero ser futbolista. It means the exact same thing. Okay, let's move on to nuevo here and continue. So next we're going to say por lo cual. You can notice this por lo tanto, por lo cual, this also means therefore. It means which is why. This cual means which. So por lo cual, which is why. And it would work in a football example. So me encanta jugar al fútbol, por lo cual quiero ser futbolista. Works perfectly fine as well there. After por lo cual, en lugar de. So we're going away from therefore now. En lugar de is the common way of saying instead. So earlier we saw en cambio. En cambio is the same as en lugar de. En lugar de is a bit more common. It means in place of. In English, of course, we just say the big word instead. Vale. Next, let's keep this going. So en lugar de, then we've got por un lado. Por un lado, on one hand. So this is one teachers often recommend you use. On one hand. So we can say por un lado. Por un lado me llevo bien. I get on well. Me llevo bien con mi, let's say, hermano. And we can continue the sentence by saying por otro lado, which is the next phrase on here. Por otro lado, on the other hand. So me llevo bien con mi hermano. Por un lado, me llevo bien con mi hermano. Y por otro lado. Y por otro lado. No me cae bien mi hermana. So I don't get on well with my sister. And here, me llevo bien con is the exact same thing. Let's use a different color. So me llevo bien con and me cae bien is the same thing. You see the con, you need the con with me llevo bien, but not with me cae bien. So I get on well with, so on one hand, I get on well with my brother, and on the other hand, I don't get on well with my sister. Vale? I think that's a good example there to show por un lado, por otro lado. Please use that in your work as well. Okay, moving on to loads of ways of saying porque, which is because. So porque is one way, it's super common. People use this word way too often. Even though it's a good word, it means because. It can be used to justify a reason, can't it? So after porque, another synonym of it is dado que. So this is one teacher say as well. Dado que means like since or given that, but at GCSE level it can be used as a synonym to porque in the exact same way. Next, we can say ya que, another synonym. Ya que just means because, doesn't it? I'm going to give one more that some people do use in school, and that's puesto que. So all four of these, mainly the first three, but even this fourth one, puesto que, can all be used to mean because. Because. Vale? And just to remind you, the word for why as a question is por qué. It's two separate words and there's an accent on the E. So if you see this means this is por qué means why. This por qué all in one word is because. Okay, moving on. We've gone to por qué, dado que, ya que, puesto que. Now let's look at sobre todo. I really like this one of my personal favorites. It means above all. If you're giving a list of reasons, at the end you can say sobre todo and then give your final reason above all. Works just as you'd like expect in English, vale? So sobre todo, then we can look at así que, which así on its own means so. So this is so that, or just means therefore. So if you're saying something, a reason or like another clause, therefore something, if it causes something else, así que, let's say for example, soy vegetariano, I'm vegetarian is what this means, soy vegetariano, así que, therefore, or so that, no puedo, let's say comer en KFC, just as an example. Vale, so I am vegetarian, so I cannot eat in KFC. Let's say they only give like sort of non-vegetarian food. Vale? Okay. Moving on from así que, we're going to go into por el contrario. This, not as common, means on the other hand. So just like por otro lado, you can use por un lado and por otro lado, these two appear together, or you can use por el contrario, on the contrary, as you say in English, or on the other hand. Vale? Okay, couple more. Let's grab the pen again. So, por el contrario, next, one of my favorite ones here as well, de hecho, more for A level 1, but I use that at GCSE as well. So, de hecho means in fact. So if you're giving a fact, usually to do with the environment topic or health topic or something, so for example, I'm going to say, de hecho, hay que beber. So in fact, one must or one needs to drink, beber. Let's say, what is it, 8 litros? I think you must drink 8 liters or 8 glasses of water, whatever it is. Let's say 8 litros de agua cada día. So this is in like the topic of health. You must drink, or one must drink 8 liters of water every, I should say, day. Cada día. Vale, every day. So that's de hecho, really good one. I like this one a lot. After de hecho, a couple more. Es más. Just means like what's more. Another way of saying además, additionally. So es más, continuing on from here. Es más, tenemos que, we have to, tenemos que, let's say, comer comida sana or comida saludable. So we can, one big sentence here, or two sentences. De hecho, hay que beber 8 litros de agua cada día. Es más, tenemos que comer comida saludable. Okay, and last but not least, we can say por esta razón. Por esta razón. Por can be translated as for. So for this reason. Yeah, similar to the ones we've seen above, like por lo cual, whereas it con por lo tanto, por eso, por esta razón means pretty much this therefore. Okay, so there we have loads of connectives you can say to make your sentences longer. That's the simple goal of these connectives oftentimes, to vary your writing and just make your sentences longer and to vary up your sentence starters. A lot of these can be used to start a sentence as well. Stuff like por un lado, and another sentence you can have por otro lado. Okay, so there's our connectives / conjunctions as well. Now let's talk about time phrases. So this is stuff that shows like referring to time, right? Things like yesterday, today, tomorrow, those sorts of words referring to a period of time, either in the past, in the present, or in the future. Okay, so the first one in the past, I'm going to say ayer. Ayer means yesterday. And for most of these past ones, the example I'm going to use is hice natación, which is in the present tense. It means I did swimming. Vale? So hice natación. Okay, so we can say ayer hice natación. Yesterday I did swimming. Let's keep going. The next word, anteayer. Anteayer. Now, ante or antes normally means before. Oops. Normally means before. So this is before yesterday. This is the day before yesterday. Now in English we don't have one word of saying this. Yesterday. In English we have to say the day before yesterday. In Spanish we have the word anteayer. This would be really good to use in your writing or speaking. People use ayer sometimes, but anteayer is something unique. People don't often use this, and just a fun way. And it means the day before yesterday. So of course we can say anteayer hice natación. The day before yesterday I did swimming. And then just so you know, hice comes from hacer. It's conjugated in the future tense. I did. Okay, this is when you all know la semana pasada. What does it mean? Last week. It just means like the week past. La semana is week. So la semana pasada, last week. Okay, now we're going to go into basically the same thing, but this is with the month. How do you say last month? El mes pasado. Be really careful, it has to be pasado here because it's el mes, and this just means what do we say? Last month. I think el mes is a nice word. People often use la semana and even el año, which we'll see here. El año pasado, last year. But people forget about el mes pasado. I think it's a fun one. Mes is a nice word in my opinion. Año semana we use all the time, but how about mes? Last month. So el año pasado is last year. Okay, let's mix things up a bit. Let's go on to anoche. Now, anoche means last night. So noche means night. This is last night. So for example, anoche hice natación. It works with all of these. Hice natación works with all of these. Okay, next, el otro día. El otro día. Día, although ending in the letter A, is masculine. Vale, which is why we say el otro día, because even though the día ends in A, it's a masculine, it's el día, never la día. So el otro día, the other day. So it just means like, oh, a few days ago, the other day, the recent day that just passed, el otro día, the other day. Okay, moving on to hace 3 días. So I've picked the number here, tres. Any number can go in this gap. And this hace, I think, is really important. It means ago. So in the reading and listening, this hace comes up a lot in terms of like a time period, in terms of days, weeks. Hace, in terms of days or weeks or whatever, is ago. So we also have a couple of other ones to do with hace. Hace un rato. And then hace poco. All of these, in all of these, sorry, hace means ago. So hace un rato, a while ago. Rato is a while. So a while ago. And hace poco, like a little bit ago, let's say. So just like a few days ago, similar to el otro día. Hace 3 días is specifically 3 days ago. How would we say 3 months ago? Hace 3 meses. And then años as well. And so hace whatever, 2 días, un día, whatever you want to say. Hace is ago. That's the most important takeaway, I think, from this bit. Hace means ago. Okay, anyway, let's continue on to the present stuff now, for the present time frame. So, first one, hoy. Oops, why is it red? So, hoy means today. Looks nothing like the English counterpart, but hoy means today. So you can say, for example, hoy es, let's say, for example, sábado. Today is Saturday. Okay? Just as we saw in the past, ayer, yesterday, hoy, today. We'll see tomorrow as well in the future when we get to the future ones. So hoy is today. Next, normalmente. This is a really good like trigger. If you ever see a sentence beginning with normalmente, it means normally. That is something in the present. If you see the word normalmente, generalmente as well, I'm going to write down here. Generalmente, like generally. If we see these two words, we know it's in the present tense. So normalmente, hago ejercicio, normalmente hago natación, whatever. Normally I do swimming, normally I do exercise. Normalmente is normally. So whatever you normally do. You may also see the word suelo plus infinitive, which we'll talk about in sort of part 2 or part 3 of this video. Suelo also means I usually. So it works similarly to normally you can say suelo comer, suelo beber, normally I drink, normally I eat, whatever you want to say. Okay, so normalmente, generalmente, suelo, these words are all to do with the present tense. Okay, next, a veces. Un vez is one time, so a veces or una vez, sorry, is feminine. Sometimes. A veces, sometimes. Okay? So a veces hago natación. Sometimes I do swimming. Next, siempre. Let's write this in bold, shall we? Siempre. What does this one mean? Always. Just gotta learn it. Siempre is always. There's no trick to remembering it. Siempre just means always. And lastly, nunca means never. There's a synonym to nunca, which is jamás. That also means never. Okay, I believe the accent goes there. Both of these words just mean never. Okay, moving on to the right-hand side here. A menudo is going to be next. What does a menudo mean? Often. Yeah, there's some people often forget this one. They learn it in like year 7, year 8, whatever. A menudo, but don't use it as much. A menudo is often. Cada día is one we've seen already a few times in this video. It means every day. And there's another way of saying it actually, which is todos los días. And the final way of saying every day is diariamente. People don't know much about diariamente. They use todos los días, they use cada día. All three are interchangeable, use them all equally, and they mean every day. Okay? And then last but not least, for the present tense, it's going to be de vez en cuando. I think of de vez en cuando and a menudo, they sort of work hand in hand. You probably would have learned them together as well. De vez en cuando is from time to time. We can see the word vez, which is time. So from time to time, which just means like every now and again. Why in English you'd say every now and again. Okay, those are we've done the past, we've done the present. Let's now move on to the final one, which is the future. So we saw the word for yesterday, today, and tomorrow, which is tomorrow is mañana. Now this has a double meaning. Mañana can mean tomorrow or morning. The morning time, anything like to do with like the morning period of time, whatever, like, before 12 p.m. is mañana, is the morning time. Or mañana also means tomorrow. And then más tarde, tarde is like just later on. So this más tarde is like more later, later on, means later. Or later on in English, you'd say. Then we have la próxima semana. Semana we saw earlier, which is a week, so this is next week. You can say la semana próxima or la próxima semana. This próxima can go either way. And obviously this works with mes, with año, el mes próximo, el próximo mes, el próximo año, el año próximo works for all of them, as you'd expect. Another way, which people often don't know about, is another way of saying next something. Let's use el mes que viene. This, I think, is a really so spicy one people don't often use. Little more complex than just saying próximo or próxima. El mes que viene, next month. ¿Vale? So venir, which is where viene comes from, is to come. So viene is like it's coming, right? Or it comes. So the month that's coming, the following month, next month. Try and use this in your speaking and writing if possible. And then also the weekend as well. People don't realize this means weekend. El fin de semana is the weekend, and we say el fin de semana próximo. Or we can say el próximo fin de semana. This próximo can travel in either place, before the fin or after semana. Fin is the end, or like the final, so the end of the week, the final of the week. Next weekend is what that means. Okay, a couple more. Esta tarde. This esta is like this. So this evening is what this means. This evening. And let's wrap this up. And then esta noche is tonight or this night. And then two more. Let's say mañana por la mañana. So you see mañana twice in this phrase. Mañana por la mañana. So, tomorrow in the morning. So we saw earlier mañana means tomorrow or the morning. So this is tomorrow morning basically. Mañana por la mañana. We have por la noche, which is like in nighttime, and por la tarde as well, which is in the evening time. Oops. Okay, last but not least, en el futuro is one everyone knows and uses. It just means in the future, doesn't it? In the future. Vale, that's that. Part 2 and 3, where I go through forming sentences using these words and various other structures, will be out soon and linked in the description. For GCSE or A-level Spanish tutoring, head to astarspanish.com/tutoring. Adios!